I want to return to making guides for new slash returning players, that or tips and tricks for, people that just want to casually play the game, just coming into the game, or just want to start. With Gawain coming pretty much next week, I think this is pretty much a good time to start updating a couple of guides and, whatever. So yeah, before we hop in, do be sure to hit that subscribe button. I am trying to hit 6,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and we definitely can do it. I just need your support. So if you could, I would greatly appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. Also, let's shoot for 20 likes for this video. If you could like the video, I would appreciate that as well. But yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's hop right in. Okay guys, so you can see that I got the demon team right here on the screen, and I do want to go over general equipment. I think having the demon team here is going to be nice and short. It won't be too complicated. So yeah, we'll start off with this. You do see that I have HP and defense on most of my characters. That's going to be the general rule, guys. When you're building your characters, HP and defense is going to always pretty much be the way to go. Now, it gets a little bit more complicated when you start looking into the kits of characters, but for the most part, HP and defense is the universal gear set to go for. Let's do a Lost Flame Meliodas, right? So Lost Flame Meliodas, obviously, he was very, very powerful when the game first came out, but over time he lost his relevance, and then he became outdated. With his LR, he is one of these units where, unfortunately, he does have to get hit in order for him to get any type of attack related stats boost. So you can decide whether or not it's worth making him a DPS, or if you want to run HP and defense on him. It's up to you. I say all of that because there are going to be times where even your DPS units are better off with HP and defense. It's just how the game is structured, right? It just is. So yeah, you do want to run HP and defense on most of your characters. Now, actually, let's go back to Lost Flame Meliodas. You saw that I had HP defense pieces on him, even though they're not fully built up. Guys, just be sure to put HP defense pieces on all your characters. It can be R gear for the characters that you're not using, and it can be SSR gear for the ones that you plan to use or you're going to use. But you do want to make sure you have HP defense gear on even the characters that are not being used, because of the fact that that's going to be the best way to boost your account CC. That's why you see HP defense on everybody. Again, HP defense pieces can be Rs. They don't have to be SSRs. I would recommend, if you're going to do R pieces, you might want to start off with units you're never going to touch, like Green Fraudrin. No one's ever going to touch this character until he gets his LR. So until that happens, you might just want to put R gear on him, because it's going to be better to save your resources for actual characters you plan to use. That's the only reason why you would put R gear on your characters, right? That's the only reason. So yeah, HP defense is the universal gear set. For attack crit or attack in defense, it's rough. It's rough. The reason why it's rough is nowadays units are just doing so much in their base kit. I can't even really justify attack defense pretty much at all. Like actually I can't. Back in the day, attack defense, attack crit used to be really, really good because characters did not have novellas for passives, right? They didn't. Like, passives were not like that. They just looked like who's a character that didn't get a, let's do Bellion. They just looked like this. Like, they literally just used to look like this. So, you would need attack defense for these characters that were DPS characters. Esterosa's not, but he used to do very, very strong damage back in the day. So yeah, you do want to just go ahead and decide whether or not attack and defense and attack crit is the best way to go for your characters. I would say you're better off just doing HP defense even for these attack characters. Again, because it's not only going to boost your CC, but most of the characters have ways to deal damage, increase their attack, increase damage dealt through external means like passive skills, holy relics, right? They have ways to deal damage. They have ways to deal damage. So you want to prioritize HP because obviously you'll live longer, and defense just to tank better. So yeah, that's what I would recommend just for just for the equipment. Now I know people are gonna be like, well, I think I should put attack defense on let's say Nemesis melee, because he does very good damage, and that's very true. I'm not gonna sit here and lie, that is very, very true. The only thing with that is, when you do plan to do geared PvP, if you plan to do geared PvP, you will suffer a really big CC loss. So I just want to make that very clear, that you will suffer a pretty big CC loss. See, I lost 3000 CC from that because I switched into attack and crit damage. It's going to be noticeable. If you don't plan on doing PvP, if you just plan on doing PvE content, attack and crit, attack and defense wouldn't be terrible. Keep in mind, there are certain game modes where even DPS units will need HP defense. That's why HP defense is just the universal way to go. I know this video pretty much boils down to HP defense, guys. That's just the structure of the game, unfortunately, how they have it, where they have this, account CC, they have CC for their units. That's just how it is. I wish there was ways, or I wish they would, I don't really want them to add equipment, but I do sometimes wish they had different equipment, like damage resistance, damage increase, damage reduction, stuff like that, to mix it up, because it does really just boil down to HP defense on pretty much all your characters. It does. The characters that really need things other than HP defense and attack and crit are going to be units that just deal damage off of their defense and are super, super tanky. I'm going to use Tarmio as an example here just because he was right there. But yeah, Tarmio, if we look at his attack or his skills, he actually does damage, or is it his ult? So he actually does damage based on his defense on his ult, and that's super, super good. Super, super good, right? So you do want to do like triple defense. This is where I said it starts to boil down a little bit, because triple defense is going to be very, 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 very powerful on units that scale off of defense. It's just going to be super, super powerful for that reason. And then finally, I think I'll wrap it up with this. I don't think there's anything else I can really say that's gonna be too crazy. The only thing I will say, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. You do want to watch out, and this is something that I learned pretty much today. You do want to watch out for these guys right here. You do want to make sure this is at a good percentage, or just straight up maxed out before you engrave, because you do get bigger buffs when this number specifically, or this gauge, is higher when you engrave. So what I mean by that is, the higher the attack stat, the better your stat increases when you go to engrave equipment. So if we just go to let's just enhance this for the fun of it. If we enhance this, right, and then we see that I have 1124, if we look here and let's do engrave, you can see that it'll be plus 364 attack that we'll get. Now let's go ahead and, do I have anvils to do this? Yes, I do. Let's get this higher. Wow, it only went up by it. Oh, that's perfect. So now you're gonna see, right, it's at 1217. We engrave, now it's at 393. So make sure, because I just learned that today, which is crazy, because I thought I knew everything about the equipment system, and I don't. So yeah, you do want it just to be at a really, really big number. Again, perfect RNG, perfect. Again, you can just repeatedly change this until it gets to max. But if you're low on material, you can just stop at a good number. If you feel comfortable. If you want to max out, you can. But again, if you're low on resources and you're like, whatever, you can do that. Again, just remember, once you engrave, you can't unengrave. Like you can unengrave it, but it's just a waste, right? Why would you unengrave it to re-engrave it? It just makes no sense. So you're better off at just making these maxed out if you can, unless it's like at 99.99%. It won't make too much of a difference, right? But yeah, let's see how much we get for here. So 3,981. So maybe you get 4,000 when you have it maxed, possibly. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say. For the substats, you do want to make sure you're just doing attack defense, and HP. You want to make sure that you're just focusing on your basic stats for these guys right here. You don't want to do anything too crazy. If you're doing in-game content and you realize that some of your characters are dying, you can do HP defense, and then for your substats, you can do crit defense. So if you come up here, you can do crit defense for these roles, and that'll be super helpful for when the character actually does take some crit damage. I'm telling you, it's going to be super big if you find your characters are dying repeatedly, right? If you find they are dying repeatedly, you can do that. If you are going to do that, I would highly recommend you just do R pieces instead of SSR pieces. R pieces, when you go to change the stats, only cost gold. They only cost gold. And then for these SSR pieces, they cost diamonds and anvils. So I would recommend just going through and using the gold to go do your crit defense rolls. If you do find, again, that your units are dying really quick, you want to do R pieces with crit defense rolls. I think that'll be your best bet. I'm trying to think if there's anything else too significant that I'm missing out on. I don't think there is. I think, again, to sum up the video, you pretty much just want to do HP defense on a majority of your characters, and then attack and defense or attack and crit. It can be used if you're just focusing on PvE, or if you think that you just want to give your units DPS. Play the way you want to play, right? Just play the way you want to play. I personally think that HP and defense on every character is gonna be the most efficient way to increase your account CC and your overall team CC, while also staying very powerful, right? So I do think that HP defense for all your characters, and then after that, you can decide which one you want to go with. For your substats, when you roll stats, make sure to do the basic attack, defense, HP. And then if you do want to make sure your units are a little bit more tanky, change the middle defense pieces, right? Let's go back just so that way you guys have a visual. Change the middle pieces to defense pieces and roll to R defense pieces, and then roll crit defense like I have right here. This piece has crit defense, and it also has like crit defense substats. So if I actually just equip this just by itself, I will be getting, this is crazy, I'll actually be getting like over 160% crit defense. It's actually pretty crazy. So yeah, I would recommend that if you're finding you're having trouble surviving certain bosses or whatever. That's what I would recommend. But guys, I'm gonna wrap up the video. Leave any questions and concerns down below in the comments, and I will be sure to answer them promptly and swiftly if I remember to. But yeah, guys, this will be Dev signing out. I hope that this video was informational and helpful for you guys. I hope you have a beautiful and blessed rest of your day.